Hello, this is Shankar Reddy, lecturer in political science from Government Junior College for Girls, Maredpalli, Secunderabad. In previous class, we covered up to the President of India election method and the impeachment procedure, qualifications, salary and allowances also. In this class, we are going to cover powers and functions of President of India. You know very well, the President of India is the first citizen of India. He was the chief executive head, the constitutional head of the India. That's why he enjoyed all those powers on his name only. That's why we are going to discuss the powers which are enjoyed by the President of India here. So let us try to understand small classification about the powers and functions of President of India. Here entire powers and functions of the President of India classified into three different categories. One is ordinary powers. Ordinary powers. Ordinary powers. The second one is that emergency powers. Emergency powers. And third one is that discretionary powers. Discretionary powers. So keep in mind, all of you, the powers and functions of the President of India classified into three different categories. One is ordinary powers, another one is emergency powers, and finally discretionary powers. Ordinary powers enjoyed by the President of India at ordinary time, at normal time, and the emergency powers enjoyed by the President of India in emergency time. And these two powers are enjoyed by the President of India with the help of Prime Minister and his Council of Ministers. Prime Minister and his Council of Ministers. Whereas the discretionary powers enjoyed by the President of India without help of the Prime Minister and his Council of Ministers. That means the President of India himself enjoyed the powers. That powers are called as discretionary powers. Let us try to understand one by one. Here we are going to mention the ordinary powers first. What are the ordinary powers enjoyed by President of India here? First one, executive powers. Executive powers. And second one, legislative powers. Legislative powers. Third one, judicial powers. Judicial powers. And fourth one, financial powers. Financial powers. Fifth one, military powers. Military powers. Sixth one, diplomatic powers. Diplomatic powers. So these are the powers under comes ordinary powers. And what about emergency powers? Emergency powers are again classified into three types. One is national emergency. National emergency. Second one is that constitutional emergency or president rule. Constitutional emergency. Third one is that financial emergency. Financial emergency. So these are the powers and functions enjoyed by President of India. Discretionary powers. Later we will cover after the emergency powers. Okay, let us start with ordinary powers of the President of India. In our examination point of view, the powers and functions of the President of India comes under 10 marks 1. It's the most expected 10 marks question in our examination point of view. That's why we have to try to understand in very clear manner. So let us start with the ordinary powers. Ordinary powers. In that first one, executive powers. Executive powers. You know very well, the President of India is the executive head, chief executive head of the India according to the Article 53. Article 53 described the President of India. Article 53 described President of India is the chief executive head. Chief executive head of the India. On his name, entire the central government administrative activities is taken. That means the entire central government executive actions or activities taken on the name of President of India according to the Article 53. That's why he was considered as the chief executive head of the nation. Under this, he may administrate with the help of some officials. So normally, he appoints some officials for assisting him. That's why here under the executive powers, we will discuss the President of India appoints some of the officials. Who are they? That's why here first one, Prime Minister of India. Prime Minister of India. And his Council of Ministers. Council of Ministers. Understood? Here, according to the Article 75, Clause 1, the President appoints Prime Minister of India, and then with the advice of the Prime Minister, he also appoints Council of Ministers, members of the Council of Ministers. Then the second one is that he also appoints Attorney General. Attorney General. According to the Article 76, Article 76, Clause 1, the President of India appoints Attorney General, who is the Chief Judicial Officer of the central government. And also, the President of India appoints governors of the state. Governors of states. According to Article 155. Article 155. The President of India appoints governors to the different states. At the same time, the President of India also appoints Supreme Court, Chief Justice and other judges of Supreme Court of India, including the Chief Justice and other judges. He appointed the President. Who appoints here? The President appoints Supreme Court judges and Chief Justice according to the Article 124. According to the Article 124, the President of India appoints Supreme Court Chief Justice and other judges. According to the Article 216, the President of India also appoints High Court. President of India also appoints High Court, Chief Justice and other judges. It means, so these are the some examples here. The President of India appoints Supreme Court judges, including the Chief Justice. According to the Article 216, the President of India appoints High Court Chief Justice and other judges of High Court. At the same time, the President of India also appoints Election Commissioner and the other commission, Chief Election Commissioner and other Election Commissioner according to the Article 324. And also, according to the Article 315, he also appoints UPSC, Union Public Service Commission. Like this, the President of India appoints some of the officials for the assisting in the administration to the President of India. With the help of all those officials, the President of India run the administration of India here. These undercomes the executive powers. The executive powers of the President of India enjoyed with the help of some of the officials who are appointed by the President of India. So this is called executive powers. These are the some examples who are appointed by the President of India. Let us try to understand legislative powers. Second one, legislative powers of the President of India. Legislative powers. The President of India also enjoyed some legislative powers. As include the President of India in legislature, he enjoyed some legislative powers. You know that Article 79 described the Parliament of India. Parliament of India is equal to President of India, President of India plus Rajya Sabha plus Lok Sabha. That means according to the Article 79, Parliament of India, that means Union Legislature. Union Legislature means President of India, at the same time Upper House Rajya Sabha, Lower House Lok Sabha. That's why what it means here, the President of India also included in the Union Legislature. Under this, he enjoyed some legislative powers. You know that the legislative body of India is called as Parliament of India. So this Parliament of India made so many laws. That means this was passed the laws which are prepared by the Parliament of India. These laws are finally comes into acts with the assent of the President of India. That means the laws which are passed by the Parliament of India comes under acts with the final assent of the President of India only. Without the assent of the President of India, no act, no legislature, no law became act. No law became act. That means the law which is became act with the assent of the President of India only. That means President of India assent is a very essential for each and every law to become as a act. Understood? That's why he played prominent role. So this is undercomes legislative power of the President of India. That means the President of India gives his assent on each and every law which is passed by the Parliament of India. Apart from that, he also enjoyed some legislative powers such as he addressed the Parliament. The President of India addressed to the Parliament twice a year. The President of India addressed to the Parliament 2 times. Firstly, after the commencement of the new Parliament, after every general election, he addressed to the Parliament of India once. At the same time, at the time of each and every first session of the Parliament of India addressed by the President of India. This is also undercomes legislative power of the President of India. At the same time, very important legislative power is that the President of India can summons the legislature and prorogue the legislature and dissolve the Lok Sabha. Dissolve the Lok Sabha. This is very, very important. According to the Article 85, the President of India summons to the parliamentary sessions. That means he summons means call on to the session. The President of India summons the sessions of the Parliament of India. At the same time, he prorogued the parliamentary sessions. That means temporarily postponement. That was done by whom? President of India. He called on to the sessions, that was summons. He temporarily postponed the sessions, that was prorogued the sessions. At the same time, he has the power to dissolve the Lok Sabha. That means the Lok Sabha, that is lower house of the Parliament of India, has been dissolved by the President of India under the legislative powers of the President of India. He also power to dissolve. Lok Sabha dissolved by whom? President of India. This is also legislative power. At the same time, apart from these powers, he enjoyed some more legislative powers. When the bill was passed by the Parliament of India, they must send to the President's approval. President's approval. President assent. That means assent. President of India assent. At the time of Parliament of India formulate the bill, the bills finally, after the approval of the two houses, the bills sent to the President of India for his assent, for his approval. At the time, he enjoyed some of the powers, that is according to the article 111. Article 113 described the President assent on the bills. At the time, the President have the three different powers, choices. One is he may give assent, he may give his assent on the bills which are sent by the Parliament of India, and he may withhold. He may withhold the bills. He may give his assent on the bill. He may keeps with you. That means withhold on the bills. And finally, he send back. He send back to the Parliament of India for his reconsideration. For its reconsideration. That means send back, return. Send back means return. He may return the bill. He may withhold the bill. He may give his assent on the bill. These are the powers enjoyed by the President of India after send each and every bill to the President of India. So whereas for financial bill point of view, that means for money bill point of view, the President unable to send back the bill. Understood? Because the finance or money bill which is introduced in the Parliament with the prior permission of the President of India. That's why he never sent back to the money bills to the Parliament of India. Whereas remaining other than money bills sent back to the President of India. At the time, the Parliament which is again sent to the President of India with the corrections, with the amendments, without amendment, that bill should approved by the Parliament of India. He unable to send back the bills which are already sent by the Parliament of India. That means second time he unable to send back to the Parliament of India. Right? So these are the legislative powers. Apart from that, the President of India appoints two different categories to the Parliament of India. In this Parliament of India, there are two houses. There are two houses. Upper house Rajya Sabha, lower house Lok Sabha. For the Rajya Sabha, the President of India appoints 12 eminent personalities. The President of India appoints 12 eminent personalities to the Rajya Sabha. Okay? According to the Article 80. Article 80, what Article 80 said? According to the Article 80, the President of India appoints 12 eminent personalities to the Rajya Sabha. They undercome legislative power. At the same time, he also appoints two Anglo-Indians to the Lok Sabha according to the Article 131. Article 131 described the President of India has the power to appoint two Anglo-Indians to the Lok Sabha, and according to the Article 80, the President of India has the power to appoint 12 eminent personalities to the Lok Sabha, to the Rajya Sabha. Okay, so these are the legislative powers enjoyed by the President of India. At the same time, the President of India also enjoyed, according to the Article 123, ordinance power. Ordinance powers. When the Parliament of India is not in session, the President of India has the power to formulate laws. The President of India has the power to formulate laws. Those laws are called as ordinances. Okay? When was he formulated? When Parliament of India not in sessions, the President of India formulated ordinances. Okay, they also considered as equivalent laws which are passed by the Parliament of India. Of course, after the commencement of the Parliament of India, they must approved by Parliament of India within 6 months. Okay, so keep in mind, under the legislative powers, the President of India also has the power to formulate joint sitting. What is that? Joint sitting. Joint sitting of the both houses of Parliament of India, Rajya Sabha, Lok Sabha. When the bill was deadlocked between the Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, the President of India has the power to formulate joint sitting under the Article 108. Article 108. This is also under comes legislative power. Then the third one is that judicial powers. Judicial powers. The President of India also enjoys some judicial powers. You know that according to the Article 124, according to the Article 124, the President of India has the power to appoint Supreme Court Chief Justice, Supreme Court Chief Justice and other judges. Other judges. Understood? The Supreme Court Chief Justice and other judges appointed by the President of India according to the Article 124. And also according to the Article 216, the President of India has the power to appoint High Court Chief Justice and other judges. Other judges. Supreme Court Chief Justice and other judges. High Court Chief Justice and other judges appointed by whom? President of India. Okay. At the same time, the President of India has the power to give pardon. According to the Article 72, according to the Article 72, the President of India has the power to give pardon. So, pardon, reprieve, remission. Okay, so these are the powers which are enjoyed by the President of India. That means the President of India has the power to give pardon. That means elimination of the punishment which is given by Supreme Court and High Court and change the punishment from one punishment to another punishment. And also he has the power to reduce the punishment from one punishment to, that means higher punishment to lower punishment. Understand? These undercomes pardon, reprieve, remission like that. And also the President of India has the power to take advice from the Supreme Court of India under Article 143. Article 143 described the President of India has the power to take advice from whom? Supreme Court of India, not High Court here. The President of India has the power to take advice from the Supreme Court of India on any matter of law. On any matter of law. If any doubt arises the President of India on any matter of law, he seek advice. He seek advice. He asks advice to the Supreme Court of India. That advice which given by the Supreme Court of India is not mandatory to implement. That means there is no bound. There is no mandatory. That was advisory only. That article said 143. Clear? These undercomes judicial powers of President of India. Then the next one, financial powers. Financial powers of the President of India. The President of India also enjoys some financial powers. So, what are the financial powers introduced by the President of India here? Firstly, the budget, you know that. Budget, which is introduced by the Parliament of India. That means the budget generally introduced by Finance Minister, that was helped by the President of India. That means for introduction of the budget, the President of India gives his prior permission. At the same time, money bills. For introduction of money bills also, The President of India give his prior permission for the introduction of money bills in the lower house of the Parliament of India. At the same time, he appoints Finance Commission. Finance Commission. According to the Article 280, the President of India appoints Finance Commission for the distribution of the taxes and the wealth between whom Union government and state government. Between the union government, state government, the taxes and the wealth distributed based on the guidelines given by Finance Commission. This Finance Commission appointed by whom? President of India, according to the Article 280. At the same time, for emergency purpose, the President of India maintains Contingency Fund of India. What is that? Contingency Fund of India. Contingency Fund of India, which is the emergency fund which maintained by the President of India according to the Article 267. According to the Article 267, the contingency fund maintained by the President of India for emergency time, we can withdraw the fund from the contingency fund, then we will send to the later on. So this is under comes the finance bill, the finance powers of the President of India. These under comes financial powers of the President of India. Then we will go with military powers. Then we will go with military powers and functions of the President of India. Military powers and functions of the President of India. You know that the President of India is the head of the defense of India. With the head of the defense. Head of defense, which consists of Army, Navy, Air Force. The President of India is the chief of the defense. Okay, so on this power, the President of India appoints Chief of the Army, Navy, Air Force. The President of India is considered as the head of the defense. Under this power, the President of India appoints Chief of the Army, Navy, Air Force. They under comes military powers of the President of India. At the same time, the President of India has the power to declare war. He has the power to declare war. At the same time, he has the power to conclude the peace. The war and peace declared by whom? President of India only. Okay, so war and peace declared by the President of India only. So these under comes military functions. Okay, the President of India is the head of the military. At the same time, under this power, he enjoyed the appointment of the Chief of Army, Navy, Air Force, and also he declare war with any other country, and also he conclude the peace. Okay, so these are the military powers enjoyed by President of India. Then go with the next one, diplomatic powers. Diplomatic powers and functions. The President of India enjoys some diplomatic powers and functions. You know that the President of India is the symbol of unity and integrity of the nation. He represents the India in international platform, and also he represents from India side in the international covenants, international treaties, international agreements. In that case, he also has the power to appoint diplomats, ambassadors to the other country. He also power to receive the diplomats and ambassadors from the abroad. So these under comes diplomatic powers. So these are the ordinary powers: executive powers, legislative powers, judicial powers, financial powers, military powers, and diplomatic powers under comes ordinary powers. Then what about emergency powers? The emergency powers of the President of India again classified into three types. How many types? three types. One is national emergency. National emergency. According to the Article 352. Article 352, national emergency. Then president rule or constitutional emergency. President rule or constitutional emergency. Constitutional emergency. That is according to the Article 356. Article 356. Then finally, financial emergency. Financial emergency. Then Article 360. 360. The emergency powers of the President of India enjoyed in three different forms. One is national emergency. According to Article 352, presidential emergency or constitutional emergency or state emergency under Article 356, financial emergency under Article 360. At the time of war and external aggression, the President of India proclaimed national emergency. Okay, throughout the India or some part of the India, this is undercomes national emergency. This emergency classified into two types. One is internal emergency, external emergency. Okay, then president rule or constitutional emergency or state emergency. When the deadlock of the constitutional mechanism, the time of constitutional mechanism was failed in the state level, the President of India has the power to proclaim state emergency or president rule, constitutional emergency under Article 356. And finally, when the financial system was deadlocked, when the financial system was in crisis, threatened, under Article 360, the President of India has the power to proclaim financial emergency. So in this you have to mention what are the emergency powers. Whereas in separately we will discuss the emergency powers in next class. Thank you.
ఆ చదువులమ్మ నేరుగా ప్రతి ఇంటి గడప చేరగా మీ భవితకే భరోసా దూరదర్శన్ వేదికగా తెలంగాణ రాష్ట్ర ప్రభుత్వ సహకారాలే ఉండగా హాయిగా మన చదువులు అదే డిజిటల్ గురు